Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Hometown Hero Hour. I'm your host, Captain Spartacus.
And I'm your co-host, Dan Core.
And tonight we're going to be talking about our favorite movies that no one knows about.
Yes.
And not that no one knows we love them, but that are relatively unknown.
Or the one you could tell somebody on the street, hey, they had this movie, and you're like, what are you talking about? I never heard of it.
Are you kidding me? That's one of my favorites. You don't know?
Exactly.
You don't know. But you're going to find out
But
tonight.
now you will. You will know now.
We're going to go through some of our favorite movies that people really slept on, to be honest. But first, we're going to get into our news and information. The first item on our list is that Cuphead is getting a Netflix show.
This is going to be so good.
Which is great. I love Cuphead. I love it for its 1930s kind of golden age of Disney animation style.
Right,
I think
and
it's
the
beautiful.
hand-drawn is so good.
It looks
such
so
good
great.
quality. In fact, if you don't know, I did a run of Cuphead back when I was thinking I might do the whole, let's play a game thing.
Yeah, it was awesome. I watched the whole thing.
Well, thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
I was surprised at how level-headed you were through the whole thing. I love Cuphead. It's hard in a great way, but
Yes.
after trying to beat the dragon, the flying dragon, you gotta jump on the
he
clouds.
was hard.
After
Yeah.
doing that for the 27th time, I just get so salty. I just get so mad. I can't. I just like my mind is gone.
You just
I
have
can't
to
do it
rage
anymore.
quit?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't do
that's
it
funny.
anymore. So
No,
good
I
on
enjoyed it a lot. It evokes a lot of Contra to me, and I played that a lot as a kid,
Okay.
which is great. And in even more Cuphead news, not only are they getting the TV show,
hmm
they're also getting DLC.
Which is cool. I
Right?
mean, I wasn't expecting it,
No,
and
me
that's
neither.
awesome. And it's called The Last Supper.
No, it's the delicious last course.
Whatever, 6 or half dozen. The delicious
The
last,
Last
course.
Supper.
I don't know, man.
Wow, it's going to be a religious piece this time. True story.
Yeah, instead of Cuphead, you're gonna be Holy Grail.
Well,
head.
I mean, before they were like, "Don't deal with the devil," so they're
Right.
just
So it could've
continuing
been-
with the whole religious thing. And that's fine.
Yeah. You could have been some kind of like Paladin Stein or something like that, right?
Well, now you're just getting into the whole D&D thing.
Paladin Stein. Anyway, Cuphead. If you want to take my idea, a big Stein with a Crusader cross.
Oh, that would be
He's got
awesome.
extra health because he's beefy.
He's got a sword.
Feel free.
Sits
I
there
won't
and
even,
whacks people with it.
I wouldn't even be mad.
No, that would just be just like, hey, that was my idea. Yeah,
His range is just holy smites. that
Yes.
He throws out. See,
so much.
we got good ideas. You can feel free to take them. That's fine.
Those are free. The next ones we'll charge you for.
Cuphead. Love it. And I think if we didn't talk about it in our single player versus multiplayer episode, it definitely came to my mind. That's a great game that multiplayer enhances the experience rather than taking away from it.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those where it's funny because I was actually playing it with my kid,
Mhm.
right? And I think he was, 6 when we were playing it. And it was funny because I went into it knowing it was going to be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
I took it as more of a how long can I keep him alive and
there you
still be
go.
able to kill? Because you deal 50% less damage
when
you have 2 people
Right,
instead of
right.
one.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to survive longer. But not only that, I mean, I'm gonna let my son do what he wants to do in the game. There's no point in
Yeah,
getting
right.
mad at a 6-year-old for
6.
being a 6.
He's not going to be
6-year-old
as
kid.
he's not going to be as good as you. And you just have
and
you
it's
just
a
knew that.
hard game.
It-
like
it's hard for
For an
grown
adult.
adults that have been playing video games their whole lives. It is a hard game.
right, so he just got to have fun sitting there saying, "Hey, look, I'm a ghost again. Come save me, Dad."
Yeah, because the
And-
fun part about multiplayer is that when you die, you turn into a little ghost and you float up. And if your teammate can come and rescue you, they come and hit A on you before you get out of the screen, then you can you resurrect, like you come back alive
right,
again.
and every time it goes a little bit faster.
Right. Yeah.
so
yeah.
you gotta, at the 7th or 8th or 9th
just
time,
like,
you gotta be on it,
You're
doggone it.
gone. Yeah. I played through a lot of it with Delta G. And when you die, you just panic when you're with another person. It's like, come pick me up.
Yep, come save me.
Give me. It's so fun.
Have you
Well,
ever had one of those like off the screen saves
Yes.
where you jump and you're like, I hope I got you, and then all of a sudden they come falling down again, and you're like, yes. I did it.
It's very satisfying. So, Cuphead,
That's
I can't
awesome.
wait for the Netflix show. I do know that the DLC is dropping next year.
Yeah,
I
it's gonna take a bit, but it's worth it.
I don't know if the Netflix show has a release date, but the article was on IGN.com. So if you guys want to go check
Okay,
that
yeah,
out.
I didn't see a release date on it. I don't
Right.
remember.
And there might not be one, but that's where we got the information from. was
I'm
IGN.
willing to wait.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It'll all be worth the wait. I don't know if the DLC is going to be free DLC or you're going to pay
Right.
for it. It's not a second, it's not another game. They're releasing it
No.
as DLC.
Right.
So I don't care at this point.
yeah.
Whatever it is, I will pay it
Yeah, it sounds
because it
fun.
was so worth it the first time.
It was a good game. Really good game. Solid. I want to play it now.
I know. Me too.
Yeah. All right. So the second item on our list of news information is that YouTube, when was this? Yesterday, just announced that there's an update to their copyright policies.
Yeah, they're making it a little better now, right?
Yes, which is crazy to even think about because honestly, a lot of the changes that YouTube has made have negatively impacted their creator base.
Right.
If you're a content creator making money on YouTube, anytime they change anything, it's a disaster. And I'm not saying that to be over dramatic or say that the creators are just like, oh no. No, it really, really negatively impacts their content creators. And I'm very small time. I think I've actually made a total of 2 cents on YouTube before
Nice.
they changed their monetization prerequisites, which I no longer meet.
Right.
So go subscribe to me over on YouTube. Check it out. Search the Captain
Hey,
Spartacus.
there you go.
Shameless
plug.
Ah! Anyway, so I have their Twitter thread up on my screen. I'll go through it really, really quick just for the
Yeah,
sake
let's
of
just
time.
summarize it real quick for everybody.
So first thing is about timestamps. There's an update about that. So I'll just let's see.
So they're going to actually
Oh, here
tell
we go.
you
Yeah.
exactly where you violated everything and give you the opportunity to fix that exact point.
Yeah,
right?
so listen, this is what the initial message said. Lots to come with copyright. Today we're starting with a few changes. 1, manual claims, which means that some company or some entity has
reported you.
reported your video as having part of their content in it that they own. They own the rights to part of something that you have put into your video.
Yeah, we've had this happen to us
Yeah,
with my hacking episode where I was doing that example.
which totally fell under fair use, but whatever.
Stupid.
I digress. Manual claims now require timestamps showing exactly what is claimed. So they have to say from this time to this time, this is what we own that they used in their video.
Right.
And 2, improved editing tools were... Ooh, okay, let me try that again. Number 2, improved editing tools will easily remove manually claimed content and automatically release claims.
So they're going to use those timestamps to just snip that part out.
Or you can go in and just cut that whole section out.
Right.
You can just take the audio out, and that will automatically release the claim that this other entity has on your video. Because
okay.
if they claim part of your video, they get all of the monetization from your video. So it's really, really important. I think that's great. So their improved editing tools will let you go in and fix things on the fly and automatically give all of the rights of your video back to the content creator, which is
Gotcha.
awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
So a little bit more about that. I just want to go through two other points that they make. No, we talked about the first one. The new point with timestamps is that copyright owners who repeatedly fail to provide accurate data for timestamps will have their access to manual claiming revoked.
So no more shotgun spamming all of these people
Right.
that have
And yeah. And there's a big Redstone YouTuber that I like. His name is Mumbo Jumbo. He's a big Minecraft YouTuber. And he had some company, Warner Time something, come in and claim all of his videos, thousands of videos or whatever, hundreds of videos that
Wow.
and so they're getting all of the revenue. Whether or not their claim is legitimate, they're getting all of the revenue until YouTube said otherwise.
See, that's messed up.
It is because it was all false. It was all
It
false.
was all fake, and they
super shady.
just got a whole bunch of his money
Right.
because they just shotgun blasted and said we own stuff here, even though they didn't.
Yeah, and now under this new policy, if they don't specifically say this time to this time, this is what they have, then they get that privilege taken away. So shady, slimy companies like that cannot do that any longer.
Perfect.
They'll lose that privilege, which I think is just amazing.
Now
So,
they just need to work on their whole fair use.
yeah,
stuff.
the whole process of appealing fair use just takes way too long.
Yeah, it sucks.
But anyway.
we could do an entire episode just on that.
Yeah, maybe we will. Let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know in the comments of this video if you guys want to see that. But that'll do it for our news and information for this evening. We're going to get right into our main topic, our favorite movies that no one knows of.
Yes.
So the first one I want to talk about is called The Little Fox. It's a Hungarian movie. It was the 1981 Hungarian Movie of the Year, which is pretty significant when you think of all of the many
Well, they're not
many
exactly
movies.
known for their filmmaking.
No, but this was the 1981 Hungarian Movie of the Year. So if you're into top movies from foreign countries, this is a movie that you should check out.
Cool.
Yeah, the original title is Vuk because that's the main character's name, and it's Hungarian, so I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It could be Vuk. It could be Ruk. I don't know. Vuk. I'm pretty sure that's his name because they say it in it's in English.
Oh, so
They do
is
have
it
the
an English
dubbed.
dub?
Yeah,
oh,
they do
okay.
have the English dubbed version. Yeah, and this is also the #1 Hungarian animation, which is
Okay.
cool. I mean, I
Yeah.
think any country has animators and whatever to be the #1 in anything. I think is really cool. So. The description from IMDb says Vuk the little fox lives happily among his many siblings in their parents' home. As he is livelier and snappier than the others, one day he wanders into the forest alone. As soon as he arrives home, he discovers that his whole family has disappeared. Only later he comes to know that they're responsible those responsible, I guess, that would be. No, it's like worded kind of funny. It's almost like it's translated from
It
Hungarian.
probably is. I'll
There
bet you
probably
that's
is.
what's going on.
Are the feared humans, the hunters, called among animals the bearskins. Bare, not
Like naked people.
yeah.
Yeah, not killing bears, skinning them, and wearing them.
Right. But luckily for Vuk, his old uncle Karak starts to patronize him. Yes, that's the right, because there's
Yes.
patronize and patronize.
Right.
His uncle definitely did not start to
Talk
make
down
fun
to
of him
Yeah.
because his family was missing.
Oh, that would be awful.
That'd be terrible. Starts to patronize
So
him.
this is like the Bambi route.
A little bit, but instead of just his mom, it's like his whole family.
So it's the
And
Bambi
he-
route, but even worse.
Right, because he comes back from just like scamping about, and his whole family is gone, and he doesn't know where they are, and he just like gets really sad and curls up on the ground, and it just like fades to black, and you're just like, what is happening? Yeah. So anyway, his uncle, the seasoned elder, brings Vuk up to be the most cunning and successful fox in the forest. So it's a really nice animated film. I think it's about an hour long, and it is not shy about the predator-prey relationship.
Mm.
Because there are talking duck characters that you spend a little bit of time with, just like seeing how they do stuff.
hmm
And then later in the movie, Vuk has one of them dead in his mouth.
Oh
He's
man,
holding
he just
them by
goes
the
straight
neck.
up savage and
Yes.
just takes him out.
And he like pounces on him, and feathers go everywhere. And then he comes out of the bush just holding one by the neck, dead.
Like no big deal.
Because foxes got to eat,
Right.
predators got to eat. You know what I mean? Oh man, it's awesome. So
Wow. So they're going all National Geographic on it for
A
these
little
kids,
bit,
man.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Dang.
and so it's his story growing up in the forest with his uncle Karak and learning how to deal with humans and hunters and dogs and all sorts of things, finding a mate. Like it's a really, really nice movie, and it's one that I grew up watching. And I remember at like it was like 2 years ago, maybe it was a little more than a year ago. I was awake at 3 a.m, and I just had one frame of the movie in my memory that I could hold on to. It was a rooster standing on top of a coop and like a fat dog sitting next to it. And so I just started Googling whatever I could think of, and eventually I found the little fox, and I was like, that's it, because I recognized the animation style.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so my parents bought the VHS for me off of eBay and burned it to a DVD and gave me both copies for my
Oh, that's
birthday last
cool.
year. Yeah, so I've seen it recently, and I love that it's come back into my life. As far as I know, I have the only accessible copy. It's not on Netflix. It's not on Hulu. You can find the trailer for it on YouTube if you guys want to go search it out. It's a really, really fun movie, and you can get a feel for the style. But there's not really anywhere to watch it. Just be careful if you go search for it not to get a virus from some shitty
Yeah.
website or something.
Don't do like a torrent or something
Yeah,
to go try
don't.
to pull it down.
Don't do that.
You may be able to find. My quick searching saw
Mhm.
that they had some people that may have broken it up into little pieces
Okay.
and put it online. So maybe you can go watch 47 different different
tiny
clips of it
yeah.
until
So
you can get there.
happy hunting, little foxes.
Yeah. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah. So all of mine kind of come from that same era, the 80s, because I think that the farther back you go, the more obscure things end up getting. Really.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
And they all kind of the same way. They speak to my childhood. So the first one I want to talk about is one that was introduced to me by my brother. He made me go watch it with him,
okay.
which is hilarious considering that, this is from 86. So I probably saw it in like the 90s.
Okay.
And it's rated PG-13. So I was way too young to be watching it if you go according to the ratings. But what's funny about it? Okay, so it's starring Eddie Murphy,
Okay.
right? And Eddie Murphy is a detective, but it's not a cop movie. He's just
Okay.
kind of a detective that likes to do his own thing, and he finds kids.
Oh,
He ends
nice.
up getting hired to go and find a special kid, and this lady calls that kid the chosen one.
Oh,
And
that's
you're like,
cute.
okay, that's interesting.
Kinda
Where is this
weird,
going to
but
lead?
Yeah.
And it ends up going into, I don't know if you've seen A Big Trouble in Little China.
No, but I've seen it on Netflix. Like I know about. Isn't it Kurt Russell?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
Kurt
yeah,
Russell.
yeah.
And that's not on my list simply because so many people know
Right. I haven't seen
about
it, but I know
Big Trouble
about
in
it.
Little China.
Yeah.
Like it's popular. It takes kind of that same vein of kooky, wacky. In fact, there's a lot of the actors that are in Big Trouble in Little China
Mhm.
that were hired on because of the associations of the director and people in
Oh, okay.
this movie.
Hey, that's cool.
So they brought him kind of over like, hey, you do crazy, wacky stuff. Let's go
Mhm.
do some more. Anyway, so you have Eddie Murphy looking for this kid. Well, it turns out that this kid has some major mojo going on. Like he is like the reincarnation of a deity.
What?
Like he has magic powers, right?
What the
so
heck?
he's sitting there in like a Tibetan temple and touches a butterfly and brings it back to life.
Oh, so like real,
Like serious
legit.
mojo.
Okay.
right?
I thought you can talk like bending spoons or.
No, like kind of the old ancient magic type stuff, right? He's
Okay,
the
right on.
the
I'm into it.
chosen one.
I'm into
and
it.
he's been stolen by a bunch of evil dudes that want to corrupt him so that they can basically bring about the apocalypse.
All right, get your. That's just. Come on, bad guys. You gotta. That's such an old song.
But this is the 80s. They were still, traveling all of those tropes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That
so
sounds
you
fun.
go from Eddie Murphy, everything starts out as kind of innocent and not really fantastical to just going all the way to 11. Like Eddie
Nice.
Murphy is sitting here trying to find a magic dagger,
'Kay.
talking to a half dragon lady that is behind a curtain of rice paper, smoking a cigarette and watching a TV.
Sure.
He is going into a cave that has these little stepping stools. Like think of just giant cylinders that go, 300 feet in the air, and he's walking on the tops of them
Oh my gosh.
with a cup of water and has to get to the other end so that he can grab the magic dagger that's the MacGuffin that's going to allow him to kill a demon.
What?
Right? Like, dude,
What a roller coaster of a movie.
no, but it is. It goes. It starts out at like 0 and
Yeah.
ends at 11.
Ah, that sounds awesome.
So it's crazy. And then the whole time you have Eddie Murphy doing his comedy,
Okay.
his comedy routines, and it's super funny.
Oh, that sounds good.
So, and it's got a lot of little quotable lines. Like quite often when our family's joking around, somebody will say, I want the knife. And if you watch the show, you'll get it.
Okay.
And you will laugh, right? Because it's a hilarious scene in the movie. But yeah, so they have little quotables like that. That's a lot of fun.
oh,
But
cool.
definitely worth a watch. The only thing that sucks is that you can't find it on Netflix or on Hulu.
Oh,
You
shoot.
got to go to like YouTube will let you rent it,
Okay.
or Amazon Prime I think has it for renting,
renting.
which is just dumb.
renting.
Yeah, but I mean, so those are currently the only ways that you can really watch it.
Okay, well,
Maybe you
good to
can
know.
find somebody that has a copy of it, but
Yeah.
it's definitely worth watching. It's pretty funny.
Cool. Well, my next movie is a lot more recent, which is shocking to me because I just found out about it, and I feel like I should have. I wish I would have known about it forever ago. It's called Bahubali, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes from India. And this movie is amazing.
Yeah, you introduced me to it.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it.
I tell everybody about Bahubali because it's so great. It's a classic Indian movie in that it's like telling a legend. It's all very legendary in scope, very epic, very large scale,
Yes.
right? So the deeds and the actions are superhuman. Of the main characters, they're superhuman. They're not things that normal people can do.
Right. I mean, people going flying. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very much akin to something like in Greek mythology or something like that, right? So it all comes from Indian legend, which is
Right.
kind of fun. It started because the director's father told him a story when he was a kid or something that then kind of evolved into this movie, which is super cool.
Right, because it's actually from they have an epic, and I can't pronounce it because I don't speak Hindi
Or Tamil.
or Tamil.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so they have kind of like I guess the most familiar that we have in America is the Greeks, which with the Iliad and the Odyssey, right?
Right.
It's the same idea, but for all of the Indian heritage. So Bahubali was actually a figure in their mythology.
Like they're Hercules or something.
Right,
Right.
yeah, because I mean, it literally means the guy who has strong arms, right?
Okay,
Like strong arms.
very Herculean.
Right. So they have a whole thing about him deciding to meditate for like a whole year and not moving and things growing around him. And, just kind of this big epic. And they basically took all of that, all like 3,000 years of history that they have written about this guy in this one giant epic
Mm-hmm.
and condensed it all into a super fun movie, which I
Yeah.
thought was really interesting. It's all based off of actual mythology.
And you feel that too in the movie, which is
Oh, yeah.
which is so fun. Everyone knows. Oh, I mean, not everyone, maybe, but a lot of people know about $1 Million Baby. That's the #1 movie to come out of India. Like
Mhm.
that's like their top grossing movie of all time.
Right.
But Bahubali is actually their top grossing franchise of all time, which is really cool. This is kind of like the Marvel of India.
Yeah, that's a
in
good way
that
to put
sense. Like Mahindra Bahubali is
Oh, that dude's
is
so awesome.
equivalent to like Iron Man.
Maybe the Hulk.
Well, yeah, not in the sense of like he flies around in a technological suit, but just as like the face
Yeah,
of the franchise,
Like the
and-
feel. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
get you.
So the first movie actually came out in 2015, and the second one just came out in 2017.
Yeah. So it's really new.
Yeah, you can go find them on Netflix. It's called Bahubali: The Beginning and Bahubali: The Conclusion. And I would recommend the original Tamil so that the mouths match with the dubbing.
Hmm.
If you listen to it in Hindi, then you have Hindi with mouths that don't match, and then you're reading the subtitles. But I guess if you're reading the subtitles, it doesn't really matter anyway.
Well, if you're a wuss like I am, you can
Mhm.
watch the actual original in English. You can watch the first episode, the first movie in English.
I didn't even know they had that.
Yeah, man. So as I was looking through to watch it myself, they had
Uh-huh.
the first one. They don't have the second one yet,
Okay.
but you can at least watch the first one. That was what got me hooked enough to say, I want to watch the next 2.5 hour long movie.
they're both over
And I'm
2.5
willing-
hours.
'cause
Yeah, it's insane.
I don't love subtitles. They usually give me a headache.
I have to be in the mood for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was one of those I was like, I'm willing to go in now to
Nice.
finish the story
Nice.
because I got to know what happens.
Yeah. I love the Tamil language, though. There's one kind of mentor character. His name is Katapa.
Uh-huh.
And in the Tamil language, they say, Katapa. And it's always so freaking cool. I love
And
it.
he is a boss too.
He's really cool. The music was all made by the director's cousin, which I think is super duper cool that he had that like familial relationship, but the music does not feel nepotistic. You know what I mean? Like the music didn't suffer because
was
he had
good.
his cousin do it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of those where the music is good enough to warrant and just completely overlook the fact that who made it and what the relationship was.
and
It was because he did a
maybe-
good job.
Maybe he's a really big Indian composer, super famous, like, John Williams of India.
Right.
I have no idea. But what he did in Bahubali was amazing. So you get your first look at this kingdom and the landscape, and you're going through up the stairs and kind of winding through the streets, and you see this like 300-foot statue of the antagonist. And while you're going on this journey, you're listening to the antagonist theme. His name is Balala Deva, and the music just perfectly packages up who this antagonist is. You get the sense of what he is before you even meet him.
Right. The self-importance, the, hey, I'm awesome.
Right.
I can do
the
things.
confidence, the power.
Right.
It's just like, oh man. And just like I said, the music just captures that perfectly. Right as it started playing, I was like, this is a bad guy theme. This is gonna be awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and because it's from India, there's a lot of singing and dancing numbers.
Sure.
But they're so good. They sing and dance on a flying swan ship, and there's a whole big thing of when Bahubali, the son, is climbing up this waterfall, hiking this mountain because this spirit girl is like calling him to come find her, and it's so
We did
it's
say
so
it was
fun.
an epic.
Yeah, it's so fun. The singing and dancing really, really enhance the movie.
Mm.
And it starts out as kind of like so bad, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like you're having a great time because it's kind of terrible.
It was a rough start for sure.
But it ends legit so good.
Well, I think part of that is the scale and the combat and just kind of you're just watching like Bahaladeva, right?
Mhm.
You're watching him swing around, which is basically a giant morning star,
Mhm.
right? It's a big flail,
Yeah.
but it goes out to like 30 feet.
Yeah, the
and
chain
he's just
is
swinging
as
it
long
everywhere.
as the story says it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one of
But I
those
love it.
comic book things where it's I can
Right.
control it. It goes out as far as I want.
Yeah, and they're hitting they're hitting into people, and like 7 people go flying, and like Balala Deva has this chariot pulled by ox that have big spinning like lawnmower blades on it.
Yeah,
And you're
that
just
was
like,
fun.
oh my gosh, the combat is huge scale and so intense and so awesome, but the story is really, really well written.
Yeah.
And they are long movies, but it's not because of an excess of exposition. So with the antagonists and all of the people involved in the big flashback, because it's like half of the first movie and 3/4 of the second movie are actually all flashback to the father, Mahindra Bahubali.
Right.
So you start out with the son story. It's the father's all in the middle, and then you end with the son.
That was super confusing, by the way.
Right, yeah. And it's not super clear because it's the same actor that plays both characters. But that's also part of the story, that when the son does find his way to this kingdom, everyone's like, oh, it's Bahubali, because he looks
And then
just
you
like
get
his
it because
dad.
he's a spitting image.
Yeah.
Because it's the same actor.
Right. But yeah, you understand the antagonist's motivations because you see their come up and you see their process of them becoming antagonists, and it's
Right.
really, really fascinating. So well done. So anyway, that's Bahubali.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
definitely
It's
worth
on
a watch.
Netflix, you guys. It's so good. If you watch it, hit me up on Twitter and let me know just how amazing it was.
Nice. Okay, so we're gonna go back to my childhood again. There's a movie that kind of framed my childhood a lot, or that I saw a lot of myself in when I watched it a little bit later,
hmm
which is called The Last Starfighter.
Okay.
So I want you to imagine that there is a video game. Okay, you're in a
doing it.
trailer park. You've got no prospects. You're
Uh-huh.
not going anywhere.
I'm imagining.
But the only thing that you're good at is playing this video game, and you do it all
Okay.
the time.
Okay.
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 That was basically me growing up, right? Playing video games all the time, not doing a whole lot
All
else
right.
with my life. It was great.
Wah.
So much fun. Okay, so this kid is playing this game called Starfighter,
hmm
and he gets really good at it, and he ends up beating the game.
Nice.
Well, it turns out that very night, an alien comes and visits him that looks like a human, but is like, hey, I want you to get in my DeLorean. Yeah, I said a DeLorean. No, but really.
What was it with the 80s and DeLoreans?
Right?
And now you don't see a single one.
Nope, they're not here at all.
Whatever.
But yeah, so he ends up like convincing this kid to get in the DeLorean. Well, it turns out the DeLorean's a spaceship.
oh,
and
yeah, naturally.
Flies him out to a base, and these people, this resistance, are saying, hey, there's this person named Zur, which we have to fight against.
Okay.
And you qualified, so we want you to be part of our armada. We want you to be a pilot and help fight for us.
Hey.
Right?
okay.
Like, I mean, that's kind of plays into this whole child, power fantasy, and
Well,
you're chosen and you want
yeah,
to go do things.
Because
right?
everyone wants the, like, come with me if you want to live. You know what I mean? Everyone wants that
Probably
invitation
not.
to adventure.
Sure, maybe that. Maybe not the whole, if you don't, you're going to die.
Well,
thing.
I'm
That
thinking
may
more
be-
like Casper the Friendly Ghost than the Terminator. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I love that.
So this kid gets this invitation, right? And he ends up meeting like a rock alien and all kinds of stuff,
Like
right?
a Garignac.
Dude, but seriously, yeah, no, but it's like that before it was cool. So he ends up talking to these people, and he's like, "Why do I want to do this? basically he's like, nah, I got a life.
No,
I
that
need to
makes
go
sense,
back to
though.
Earth.
Yeah, this kid is very level-headed if he recognizes that he has no qualms with this.
Right. And he's
other
like, I'm not fighting your fight. You
alien
guys,
force,
this is
yeah.
your war. It's
Sure.
not even mine. I'm technically outside of whatever their zone was.
Okay.
Right? Like
Okay.
their alliance zone.
I can see that.
So he's like, all right, I'm going to go back. And so he ends up going back. And during that time, he's got a little android thing that becomes him, like takes his DNA,
Oh,
assimilates himself to be that,
okay.
starts interacting with the dude's girlfriend, and yeah, like he doesn't understand anything about human culture or how things work. And so she like wants to go make out with him. And he's like, what are you doing? You just stuck your tongue in my ear. This is really weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Like stuff like that. It's just funny. It's good comedy.
Okay.
Guy comes back. This alien shows up and tries to assassinate him.
Whoa.
He barely survives, and then comes to find out that the base that he was just at
Mhm.
just got wiped out.
Whoa.
Okay, so the entire armada, all of these guys that were getting ready to fight this big old war, are gone. So now it's him and a prototype ship and the rock dude that he met before that are like the
Right.
only people that are left.
The rock biter or
Yeah.
whatever.
Nah, I can't even remember the name of the character.
No.
But yeah, so basically they're like, okay, well, if you don't do this, everything's doomed. So then the kid's like, all right, let's go do this for real. And so it's him against the entire army all by himself, which is exactly what happens in the training game that he's playing.
He has been prepared.
Right. And so then he gets to go through, and they have a lot of fun with the actual spaceship that he's in. He gets
Mhm.
to use the Death Blossom.
What?
Right? Isn't that
sounds
such a cool name?
sweet. Yeah.
So it basically pushes it, and it allows, basically it auto targets everything and just kills everything on the screen, right?
What the heck?
He starts spinning around in space in 3D, boom, 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 just auto targeting and shooting everything.
Nice.
But
That
then
should-
overloads the system.
Oh, I was gonna say
right.
that should be the opening move.
Right, you would
If
think
that's not
so.
your
But it has to
starting
be super close
tactic.
range, and it's got to
Wow.
be, for just a short time.
All right.
So that's
fair
how
enough.
he like overcomes these odds. It's kind of the Deus Ex Machina that they're using here.
Yeah. Right.
We have this super secret thing that we never wanted to use, so we're going to
Yeah.
use it now.
Yeah. Just like you push the button and
Right.
you know what I mean? It's like the win
And
button.
we just, it's the I win button that
Yeah.
we just pressed.
Yep.
So it's good. Definitely worth the watch.
Cool.
Obviously, it has a happy ending and all of that fun stuff.
But
But it's got a little bit of comedy in it. It's got a lot of that like old 80s kind of Back to the Future type feel with it.
that we love.
And I guess it's one of my favorites just because it was one that I watched as a kid and really fell into that kind of power fantasy that it's got of the being brought in. You're special. You want to do this thing.
Yeah,
so
right, sure. Who wouldn't
kinda
like
fun.
that? Yeah, of course. Cool.
Absolutely. It's another one that you can't find on Netflix or Hulu, which sucks. They need
Sancor
these.
Really giving us the tough, obscure ones.
Well, look, I mean, at least you can find it on YouTube, the YouTube rent that they've
Oh,
got.
okay,
You can find
okay.
it on the Amazon Prime renting.
okay.
So you're gonna have to pay
Renting.
a little bit of money for it, but it really is something that is worth watching.
Get your friends together, have an 80s movie night.
There you go.
You
Absolutely.
pay the $3 or whatever, and everyone has some popcorn and a good time.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yep. It's a good one.
Well, the last one that I want to talk about is a mid-90s Christopher Lloyd, Danny Glover movie. It actually had Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the main character when he was a kid. Angels in the Outfield.
Oh man, I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Angels in the Outfield. I loved it.
I don't think I've even heard about Angels in the Outfield since I watched it back in like the 90s.
Nice. See, that's exactly what this episode is for. If you have seen them, it's to remind you of how awesome they are.
Right.
So even to this day, I say all the time, it could happen. Like JP.
That's right. The
It
little
could
kid.
happen. Yep.
And didn't they have that one that like they were looking at the moon and they're like, it's God's thumbnail?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I actually think that sometimes when I see like the moon is like, just a sliver, with JP pointing up at the moon, it's God's thumbnail.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah. So Angels in the Outfield, the premise is that the main character prays that the Angels can win the pennant and basically like qualify to go to the World Series or whatever. I'm not actually like a huge
And
sports
I think
guy.
this is back when the Angels just didn't win stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I don't know.
I
if
don't
they
know.
won some now, but that's fine.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because it's like the Cubs, right? They
Yeah.
would make fun of the Cubs never winning anything,
Yeah.
and then they did, and it's huge.
Yeah, and it's because the kid's father is kind of a deadbeat and said, I'll come back and pick you up out of this foster home when the Angels win it all. You know what I mean? Saying like, yeah, right, kid, it'll never happen.
That
and then he
is
just like rides away on his motorcycle.
Awful.
Yeah, what a douche. So anyway, so he prays for the Angels to win, and Christopher Lloyd is like the head angel on this project, appears to him and is like, what's up? We're going to help you out. So it's really, really good because the Angels influence the baseball players. And so all of a sudden they're just like amazing, even though they have no idea what's going on.
So they're mediocre players.
Yeah.
And then they go to like catch a fly ball, and the angel like comes up and like
lifts
grabs
him,
his
and he's like
elbow or-
floating through the air with his glove out, and he catches the ball. Yeah.
Oh man, that's
it's
great.
so good. And I didn't know at the time, but there's a freaking all-star cast. Like I said, Danny Glover is in it. He's the coach of the Angels.
Okay.
Tony Danza is in it. He's
Oh,
been
man,
missing
really?
for a while. Yeah, Tony
Wow.
Danza. Where has he been? Christopher Lloyd, like I said, is like the head angel. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Who else was I thinking of? Adrian Brody and Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey's
Yeah,
in it? Really?
he has a small part in it. Yeah.
Wow.
Who was it? I thought it was like not Patrick Swayze. I thought someone else was in it that was pretty big, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of people that I was like, what? So it's really, really fun. And
It's
it
got
was
a
such
lot more
great
people than
movie.
I thought it did.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
And I love the when everyone is at the end doing the angel wings.
It's like doing the wave over and over again.
Yeah.
And not sitting down.
Yeah, I loved Angels in the Outfield as a kid. So Disney ended up having like a straight to DVD or straight to VHS kind of sequel. There was Angels in the Infield, and I think there was Angels in the End Zone, but I never saw them because no. I don't
that
want
could
to
almost
spoil.
ruin it.
I know I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil the original with these terrible sequels. It's the same reason why I never saw George of the Jungle 2. When you replace Brendan Fraser with French Stewart as George of the Jungle, nah, man, I'm out. That ain't for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Nope. I think I agree with you there.
That's me.
Awesome, dude. Okay, so my last one is I'm putting it on here. It's not my favorite movie. I'm just going to start out with that because I don't think it's particularly good, but I think it's something that people should either remember or go see for a couple of main reasons.
Okay, fair enough.
Came out in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
It is a fantasy movie called Legend.
Okay, that's not immediately ringing any bells.
Okay, so it's one of the first movies that Tom Cruise led. He was a lead in it, right about the same time as Risky Business.
Okay,
right. So it's
okay.
right around then. He had longer hair back then because he didn't want to cut his hair for whatever reason.
All right, whatever, Tom Cruise.
Okay.
You do you, man.
But in addition to him, it has Tim Curry playing Darkness. And Darkness is essentially Satan.
I do know this one, but I just know Tim Curry as the Satan character.
You've just seen that, what, like
just
the
seen him just,
compilation
like,
videos
laughing.
where he's,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's in like a super cut of him as Long John Silver and you know
all
what I
of
mean?
his
It's just
famous
like, boop,
roles
boop,
that
boop,
he did.
boop. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think is interesting about this is really you want to watch it for Tim Curry because he's awesome. But it was brutal on him being in this. First off, he has to have these giant, massive fiberglass horns that had to attach to his head. So much that they had like a metal brace that came from the back of his head down to his back.
Right, because I was going to say, what is that going to do to your neck,
Right.
man? That's going to kill you.
Yeah, because it was like 12 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
But it's just sitting there, and it's not going straight up, so it's
Right.
not like compacting on the spine.
Right.
They go out like
They're
6
huge.
feet.
Oh,
They're
my
super
gosh.
huge.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
So you've got that. Then you've got he's actually head to toe covered in makeup. Completely
Oh,
covered
yes.
in red makeup, right?
I do remember hearing about that. I think I read about it on the Chive. It was like a gallery all about Tim Curry or something.
Okay.
And that role almost made him quit acting.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because the makeup took off layers of his skin every day.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the way that ended up going down with some of the pieces was, one, it took 5 hours for him to get in and out.
Man.
He would have to lay in the tub for 3 hours just to get the spirit gum off from his face.
Jeez.
And then there was one of the times he had to get out of it faster, so he tried to take it off, and it took off his entire layer of skin.
I do remember that specific.
Yeah, so they
instance,
they had to shoot around him. The director shot around him for like 2 weeks,
So he could heal,
so
right?
he could heal,
Yeah, 'cause
so that he
just-
wouldn't have it on again.
Right, I remember that. Oh, that's crazy.
So
It's funny that I've never seen that movie, but I know
you
those
know an
stories.
awful lot about it.
kind of-
being in
Kind of
there.
weird. I should probably just watch the movie.
You know what? It's not the best movie out there, but it is interesting.
Okay.
And another notable part about it,
Mhm.
there is so much glitter in this show.
That is not where I thought that sentence was going to go.
I know. It's weird to have that be like a talking point.
Right, you've got Tom Cruise, Tim Curry Satan, lots of glitter.
And I can't
Okay.
even explain it. Like you just have to watch it. And as I was
Why?
watching, because I watched it a few years ago, because my kid's coming up in age, and I want him to have seen all of these movies so
You
that
weren't
he can be
afraid of-
cultured.
You weren't afraid of Satan freaking him out?
No,
Okay.
no, my kid plays Five Nights at Freddy's,
Oh gosh.
so he's
these
pretty
days.
desensitized.
I was gonna say so desensitized from movies and video games.
No, it's funny. My 3-year-old, my little girl, watches as we're playing stuff like that and talks about these things. So we went to the Salt Lake City Gaming Con
Oh,
not too
you
long
did?
ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
we went there
Oh,
for
I
a
didn't know
couple
that.
days. We'll have to talk
Cool.
more about that.
Yeah.
But while we're up there, there was one of the stores that was there, and it had Foxy stuffed animals.
Oh, a character from Five Nights at
Fu-
Freddy's, right?
yeah,
I've
right.
played it once.
Oh,
Wasn't really
okay.
my jam, but I do. Yeah, okay. So,
So
it's
there's a
character.
bunch of that, and now with the Freddy VR, we'll have to have you come over and we'll play it.
Freddy VR Pass.
Dude, it is freaky. We can talk about that in
gosh.
some VR segment later.
Okay.
But she's watching it, and they have a nightmare mode. Okay, so you flip it on, and it's like the black lights come on.
Oh.
So now everything is like black lit in addition to everything else. It changes all the colors. So they were selling these little Foxy figurines
Mhm.
in all of the nightmare colors. So you have neon blue, neon pink,
Oh.
neon green,
So when you
and
get them under a
yellow,
black light, they just glow, right?
No, they're just
Or-
they're just like
they're
hot
just
pink,
colors?
just the colors.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Okay.
That's what she wanted as her souvenir for being up there.
Oh, that's amazing.
She's like, no, I don't want anything else. I want that Foxy. And so now she has the little Foxy plushie doll.
And for anyone that doesn't know, the characters in Five Nights at Freddy's are like mascot
They're
looking.
animatronics. Yeah,
Animatronic,
think
but
of like the
they're-
old school Chuck E. Cheese.
Right, but if Chuck E. Cheese was haunted and like falling apart and decrepit, but could move on its own.
Right. And it wanted to eat children.
Horror Chuck E. Cheese. So basically just Chuck E. Cheese.
Although these ones are cute. They don't look like they're ready to eat children.
And-
You know, the little plushies at least look
Oh, the
halfway
plushies don't.
decent.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the game they do.
Oh, man. Nightmare Freddy gets even worse. But,
cool.
okay. So that was kind of a derailment.
yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah, so
right.
I'm having my kids
Mhm.
watch these things so that they can just get used to, they got to watch the classics,
Yeah,
the things
that's
that Dad
fun.
likes, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we can joke and talk about things. and
That's
so
cool.
we were watching that, and I just remember as I'm watching it, I'm like, holy cow, everything is covered in glitter.
so
Everything.
weird.
You're sitting here and watching Tom Cruise, and he's talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden the camera angle changes, and he's just got glitter all over his face.
Why?
And you're like, why?
They don't
I
give
don't
a reason.
know. No, there's nothing that makes sense in terms of the glitter in this whole show.
All right.
But it's a decent like darker fantasy type show. I
Okay.
mean, they're like trying to kill a unicorn and
No.
weird stuff like that. Yeah, dude.
Oh,
It gets a little
boo.
weird. But it's one of those if you want to see, first of all, you should watch it just for Tim Curry because I think it's
Yeah,
one
it's a
of
classic
the
role, right?
coolest roles that he's done.
Sure.
And then stay for, kind of the oddity of what it is. And if you're into fantasy and into Dungeons and Dragons, it may influence you a little bit there.
Cool.
But definitely something that's at least worth picking up because it's kind of a bit of nerd culture that's
Yeah.
worth exploring a little bit.
Sure. All right. Thanks for sharing, Dancor. Okay, guys, that's going to wrap up our episode for tonight. If you did enjoy, make sure you like or subscribe or follow or whatever, wherever this ends up getting posted. You can check us out on social media, on YouTube as Captain Spartacus or on Twitter as @Captain_Spartacus.
Yep. And I'm at The Real Dancor, and you can search for me on YouTube as just Dancor.
Yeah, or go check out our community channel on YouTube as well. It's just the Hometown Heroes, and it's our HH logo. So anyway, guys, once again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've had a lot of fun. Let us know what you guys think. If you have a favorite movie that you don't think anyone knows of, we want to hear all about it. So,
Absolutely.
well, once again, I'm Captain Spartacus.
And I'm Dancor.
See you next time.
Night.